my new channel, or channel for Unity development. So I'm going to try and put 5-minute tutorials here together to help you understand what I'm doing. So if you need to replay the bits that you haven't seen in the lessons, or you're just a new person online and you want to follow this course, that's fine. I'm going to put the link below for this worksheet here. This worksheet here is about how to program in Unity using some scripts. We're going to create a canvas and we're going to say "Hello World" on the canvas in the text. So it's this one here. It's in the folder Unity Dev Exercises. Well, I'll share that with you on Teams, but it's in the link below as well on the video. So just look below and you'll see a folder with any resources that I'm going to use there. It'd be like a Google Doc or something. Okay, but it's in beginner programming in Unity. So this is just to introduce you to how to program using scripts. So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a canvas. So if we right click in this hierarchy window and we go to UI and we create canvas, and then we right click on the canvas and we go down all the way down to UI and we choose text. So I've got Text Mesh Pro, image. I think there should just be a very simple text option. At least I hope there is, because usually there is on everything else. If we go down to Legacy Text Mesh, maybe there's just Text Mesh Pro on this one because it's a newer version of Unity. There we go, we've got Legacy. So let's just choose text. All we want is just a text object to appear on the screen. And I want you to understand how you can create variables in your script that you can connect to this. So let's create a script. So I'm going to go to click on the main camera and I'm going to add a component and we're going to add a script like this. And we're going to call this script game controller, because it's going to control our game and it's going to draw things onto the screen. So if we click on that, then there should be a script applied to here and there should be a script in here. Now it depends whatever you want to use to open up your script. I'm going to use a text editor. You could use Visual Studio. It might give you a better view onto the code. It might allow you to use the IntelliSense and things. It depends what you like, but I really like Sublime. It's a Mac program. I think they have one for Windows, but a simple text editor that's colored so you can see everything is also really, really good. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to declare some variables at the top of the script. So I'm going to paste these in, and basically you can pause the video so you can copy them down if you want. But there are two variables that I'm going to put in here. They're both private variables. That means they can't be changed outside of this script. We don't want people messing around with our player score or our health. You could hack the game. And they're set to 0 and they're set to 100. So, and the player score is an integer, which is a whole number. So this is about data types. And the player health is a float, which is a fractional number. You can tell it's a float because you've written 100.0f here. Okay, so when you declare a variable, you must write the variable type, its name, and then you use equals to give it a value, an initial value. And private is about whether or not we want people outside that script to change it. The only thing that can change those now is this script. Okay. There's also a couple of other things you need to understand in the game controller. If you look at these other two things, there's something called the start, and it's a function, a start function. It's called once when the script is run, when you start the game. And the update function, which is called once per frame. So this is where we put things like collision detection, things to do with perhaps changing the score depending on what the person presses, for example. At the top we have some imports. These are libraries. Libraries are bits of code that you can include in that have already been written. And then we've got this thing that surrounds everything. It's called public class game controller, and it extends a library called monobehavior. The first thing to notice is how important the brackets are. So these brackets here indicate the start and end of our class. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to import a couple of things, a couple of libraries. We've got Unity engine, which is our standard library, but we want the UI engine because we want to change we want to interact with the UI, and that's got some other useful things in. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy in two more variables. One is called scoreText, and the other one is called healthText. And these are of type text objects. So remember we created a text object in our canvas here. We're going to link these variables that we've created in our script to those game objects in our canvas, those text game objects in our canvas. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write some code in our update function. No, let's write some code in our start function first of all. We're going to change scoreText, so we write the name of that variable scoreText dot, and that gives us access to some of the properties of this text game object, such as text, and we're going to change that to score, and then we're going to change this, we're going to add on, so this is called string concatenation, like this thing here is a string, we're going to add on to that string the value of our player score, and we're going to convert that to a string because at the moment it's an integer and we want to combine a string with an integer, and to do that we need to cast it. So there's a couple of things going on here. We've created we're updating our score.text with some new text score, and then we're adding on this integer variable, and then we're casting it, and we've got to turn, you've got to have strings with strings. You can't have a string with an integer, for example. So then we've got healthText.text, and same again, we're going to say health, and then we're going to add on the player health.toString because we want to convert this float to a string so that we can display it in this nice text box. Then the last thing we need to do in this little bit of the script is to connect these game objects up to the script. So if I save that now, I go back to Unity, it's going to reload because Unity needs to recompile this code and check that it all works. I'm going to add another text object to my canvas, and I'm going to connect those to the script. So I'm going to right click in canvas again, I'm going to go to UI, legacy text, and we're going to call that health text, and we're going to give the other one score text. So let's rename that score text, and we know what each game variable is. Then we come back to the main camera, we look on our game controller script. Now we have two empty slots. These empty slots represent these two public text game objects that we put in our script, and we are going to connect those to these game objects that we've got in Unity, and we do that by simply dragging the score text over into the score text slot and the health text over into the health text slot, like that. Now if I push run and you give it a minute, it's going to compile everything, and then it's going to start your game. The game will switch to the game window, and you can see the text there, although they're both overlapping now. So let's fix that quickly. If I double click on score text and I zoom out and I click on, so they're so overlapping over each other you can't see them. So I'm going to move one of them above it like that, and now they're one above the other. So the health text is above the score text. You could, if you want to, put them in the corner like you normally do in games. You can sort that out. Play around with how to position things, and there you go. Now we've connected this script to the game objects, score text and health text, and we've updated them to have initial values of 100 and 0.